In this new video, we are going to work to 100 years of London's history from 1800 all the way to 1899. We will be exploring London, but not the London we know today, the London in the year 1800. You can see these muddy streets. The street people are working and the thick smoke rising from chimneys. These are the people of London in 19th century. Let's move into our story to see more about this beautiful city. Before we move forward, the images you are seeing right now are created using advanced AI technology. We are going to see how the city started as crowded, dirty, chaotic place and slowly became the most powerful city on the entire planet. We are going to work about the Great Fire that was earlier. We are talking about things far bigger. We will cover the building of the first ever underground railway in the world right here in London. We will talk about the great stink of 1858 when the River Thames became so polluted that a member of the parliament had to leave their own building because the smell was unbearable. We will talk about Queen Victoria, about the great exhibition in 1851, about cholera, outbreaks, killing thousands, about child labor, poverty, crime, and above all, how that slowly painful changed. This is the story of the city's transformation, and it starts right here in 1800. London in 1800 is already one of the largest cities in the world with around 1 million people. But do not picture a clean, organized city. The streets are narrow and covered in horse manure and mud. There is no proper sewage system, so waste flows directly into the Thames, the same river many people drink from. The poor live packed into a tiny room, sometimes 15 people sharing one space. Children as young as 5 or 6 work in factories, mines, and chimneys. There is no police force, no free schools, and no health care for ordinary people. But London is also full of energy. The Port of London is one of the busiest in the world. Ships arrive from every corner of the globe. The wealthy area like Mayfair and Westminster have grand townhouses and fashionable streets. But just a minute away, areas like Whitechapel are places where people die from cold and starvation on the street. London in 1800 is a city of two very different worlds, living side by side. For most of London's history, keeping order on the street was a total mess. There were local watchmen and constables, but not organized force covering the whole city. In 1829, Home Secretary Robert Peel changes all of that by creating a Metropolitan Police Service, the first professional police force in London's history. Officers begin patrolling the street in uniform, with their headquarters at Scotland Yard. Londoners call them Peelers or Bobby, after Robert Peel's name. People are suspicious of them at first. But over time, the Metropolitan Police becomes a model that spreads to cities all around the world. In 1831, a deadly disease reaches London for the first time, cholera. It had been spreading across Europe, and now it arrives in the city with a devastating result. Thousands of Londoners die within hours of getting sick. Nobody at this time understands how it spreads. Doctors believe it travels through bad air, and people light fires in the street to try and burn it away. But the real cause is contaminated drinking water, something the city will not understand or fix for many more years. Cholera returns again in 1848 and 1853, killing thousands more each time. These repeated outbreaks eventually forced London's leaders to finally face the truth about the city's sewage and water problem. On the 20th of June 1837, an 18-year-old girl named Victoria became Queen of the United Kingdom. She will go on to the reign for 63 years, and her name will define the entire era, the Victorian Age. When Victoria comes to the throne, London has nearly 2 million people. By the time the reign ends, the city will have tripled in size. She marries Prince Albert in 1840, and together they become symbols of family, duty, and progress. As London grows more powerful, so does the image of the monarchy. Queen Victoria and London rise together to one of the most extraordinary centuries in human history. By the 1850s, the River Thames has become one of the most polluted rivers in the world. London sewage, human waste, animal waste, factory chemicals, all flows directly into it. In the summer of 1858, a heat wave hits the city. The heat causes the Thames to release such a powerful and unbearable smell that the whole city is affected. This becomes known as the Great Stink. Members of a parliament cannot work in their own building because the stench from the river next door is too overpowering. This finally forces the government to act. Engineer Joseph Bazalgette is given approval to build a completely new sewer system for London. His team construct over 1,300 kilometers of underground sewers that carry waste away from the river and the city. And this engineering achievement dramatically reduced cholera and disease in London, and much of Bazalgette's sewer network is still running under the city street today. On the 10th of January 1863, something happened in London that changes the world forever. The Metropolitan Railway opens, the first underground passenger railway in human history. It runs between Paddington and Farringdon through tunnels dug under the city streets. On the very first day, around 38,000 people ride it. The trains run on steam, so the tunnels are full of smoke. But that does not stop Londoners from using it. The underground, which people eventually called the Tube, expanded rapidly over the following decades. By the end of the century, multiple lines ran under the city, connecting neighborhoods that once took an hour by horse and cart in just a few minutes. London's underground became the blueprint for metro system in cities all over the world, from New York to Paris to Tokyo. By the 1870s, London is changing fast. Gas street lamps light the roads at night. New bridges cross the Thames. Grand public buildings go up across the city. The Natural History Museum opens in 1881. Tower Bridge, one of London's most famous landmarks, begins construction in 1886 and opens in 1894. And in 1870, the Elementary Education Act makes it compulsory for children between 5 and 10 years old to attend school. For the first time in this city's history, the children of London's poor are required to learn to read and write. The middle class is growing. New neighborhood of brick terrace houses spread out from the city center in all directions. London is expanding in every way possible in population, in geography, and ambition. In 1899, London is a completely different city from what it was in 1800. London is completely different. The population has grown from 1 million to over 6.5 million people. London is now the largest city in the world. The underground railway runs across the city. Children go to school. A professional police force keeps order. Grand museums, hospitals, parks, and public buildings serve a million of people in ways that would have seemed impossible 100 years earlier. London has become the dream of every European. Seeking opportunity, people from Ireland, East Europe, and across the British Empire come here looking for a better life. The city is already becoming multicultural, already becoming modern, but this transformation was not easy or painless. It was built on the suffering of the poor, the labor of children, and the lives lost to disease and poverty. It took engineers, reformers, scientists, and ordinary people decades of hard work and campaigning to make London into what it became. London's 19th century is a story of a city at its most chaotic and its most brilliant at exactly the same time. That is the story of London in the 19th century, 100 years, 6.5 million people, and a city that went from a muddy, overcrowded port town to the most powerful city the world had ever seen. And this is the extraordinary story of London I want to share with you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. See you in the next video.